Before the Orlando freefall ride at Icon Park lifted these riders last night, one appeared to question the seat restraints.
Why doesn't this have like the little click twist, like the seatbelt?
And as it lifted, a worker said this.
Hey, you take your seatbelt on the left side. Seatbelt.
Nope.
Seatbelt.
The ride appears to have only an over-the-shoulder harness that locks riders into place as it descends 75 miles per hour. But last night, as it dropped from more than 400 feet, a rider came off the seat and fell to his death.
So the kid that fell to his death is Tyre Sampson. He was 14 years old. He's from St. Louis area, and he's the victim of either a faulty system with that harness or a faulty safety check system with the folks down at the bottom, as you saw at the beginning there. Now, that CBS report did go on to ask one of the people that is associated with the company that owns that ride how this could have happened. Watch.
John Stein is with Slingshot Group, which owns the ride.
We are deeply saddened and sorry.
He says the ride, which opened about 3 months ago, is designed to only operate if riders are locked in.
What possibly could have gone wrong?
And it's very difficult to say. The way the ride is designed with all the safety features and redundancy, there shouldn't be an issue.
So that's after the accident happened. Also, Tyre also apparently knew that something was off from the beginning. So Sampson's father told Fox 35 that his son, who was from St. Louis, knew something was wrong when this ride started. He was panicking when he was going up, is what Yarnell Sampson said. When the ride took off, that's when he was feeling uncomfortable. He was like, what's going on? That's when he started freaking out. And he was explaining to his friend next to him, I don't know, man. If I don't make it down, please tell my mom and dad that I love them. For him to say something like that, he must have really felt something. You guys saw that representative from that company talk about how things would normally supposed to work on this ride. He had more details here. He goes, we operate the ride with all the safety precautions in mind. Everything is in place, and this is why we are doing this investigation. And that's John Stein again. He's the director of marketing for the Slingshot Group, and that owns it. He told NBC News that in the words of the network, the boy was secured in a safety harness at the time of the incident. Here's a picture of them about to go up, and this is Tyre on the right. He's a football player, high school football player, maybe even middle school. I think they said he was middle school to high school football player. Big kid, man. And as you can see from those safety harnesses from the other two kids next to him, those appear to go further down and lock in, and his looks like it's way up. General safety precaution there. So a worker went over to check Sampson, and someone asked, did you check him? As the woman asked the crew member, and he said yes. And she goes, you sure you checked it? Is what she also asked again. So at that point, it had been too late. Now, one other part about this, because checking that mechanism may not have always been enough, because there's other standards that maybe they weren't looking into there. So look at this. In the restraint section, the status of the restraints of each row is shown, is what this manual says on the ride safety program. Green light indicates that the restraints are closed. No light on indicates that the restraints are open. And that the red light indicates that they are faulted. Now, this is the bigger part. Local news affiliate WESH reports that on page 58 of the operator's manual, the maximum weight is listed as less than 287 pounds. The boy's attorney, according to the report, contends that he was over 300 pounds and he should not have been allowed on the ride, as you can see, because that mechanism didn't close down. There's too many bad aspects of this. From him realizing that something was off, to his father and have to dealing with this, to then the workers who didn't go through the process. There's lots here.
I mean, this story is going viral because it is so intense, and people go on rides like this all the time. And whenever something happens, and the response from an average human is, how could this happen? It's gonna get attention to it. And I don't know what the solution is. I definitely, if it doesn't pass my eyeball test for the restraint to be in that position, it doesn't make sense just logically for if the clicking apparatus engages, then it can take off, because anyone who was like 100 and no pounds and 6 feet tall like I was when I was in 8th grade knows that you can pull the restraint down and it starts clicking when it's in a normal person's body shape, and then you have to pull it down even more and it clicks more shut. The fact that there isn't a safety restraint across the lap is ludicrous, especially with something like that. It seems like he fell out when it started to naturally slow, which means that, he wasn't coming out of it. It doesn't look like when it started to drop, but they have to do that investigation. And it just resonates with everybody because you think about your experience on those rides when someone runs by you and pulls on your restraint and you're like, there's no way you check that in a way that is remotely reasonable. And the further you get from a name brand resort in Orlando, the shadier and shadier it gets. Now, this is in a complex that has like a Ripley's, believe it or not, but I just can't believe that this ended up happening. Part of me says I can't believe it happened because it's in such like a big area, but the other part is like, I'm just still in shock watching that video.
Yeah, I mean, anybody's job when it comes to the degree of importance with it, there's a routine that starts happening and people stop really looking as closely as they normally could. And when it comes to something like this, it's life or death. In this case, it was really bad.